Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
All right, it's your favorite time of week. It's Battle Brew time with Blue.
You're my boy, Blue!
This week is the third and final episode for the same customer. I will tell you that this week's given theme that they wanted for the final deck was Heaven and Hell. In Pioneer, of course. So it took a little bit to find just in Pioneer the creatures that could fit into a Heaven and Hell theme. I did it. It took a little bit, and I had to stretch it a little bit to sort of fit into the theme. I'll show you what I mean. Let's just get started, and we'll go from there. So, what I have found is that there were 4 total types of magic for Pioneer specifically that would fit into a Heaven and Hell theme. First one was Devils. Very obvious, obviously Devils. Now, here's the other problem. Only 2 color. No color given, so I had to figure out, do I want to do black and red? But then the Angels suffer, because that's one of the types. Do I do white and black, where I can use something like this, because the hybrid mana means it's still black? It took me a little while to figure out what I wanted to do. I went with white and black. So, this card's in there only because it can be in here and fit the colors and the theme because it's black, even though it's hybrid. All right? So, the first one was Footlight Fiend. It's a 1/1 for 1. And when it dies, it deals a damage to any target. Any target. Keep that in mind. It can do planeswalkers, it can do creatures, it can do players. And it's a devil. That was the most obvious choice I could make there, all right? This one, not so much. I couldn't find a 2-drop that I liked. That was a devil. That was a demon. That was an angel. I came up with cleric because technically, Heaven and Hell themed clerics work. They work because they're technically speakers of God or whatever have you. They're basically preachers or priests, whatever. And in Pioneer, I could only find clerics. All right, I tried other things. I thought about Archons, and they weren't really fitting or jiving with the rest of the deck. They didn't really fit, so I came up with cleric. And there weren't really many 2-drop Archons anyway. By the way, I didn't know Archons were actually biblical, just so we're aware. All right, so Impassioned Orator was my choice. It's a 2 to cast, 2/2. I'm sorry, 2 to cast, 2/2. I did that wrong. It's a cleric. Whenever another creature comes into the battlefield or enters the battlefield under control, you gain a life. So at least it has another part to it that fits the theme of the deck. So we now have things that deal damage and things that help you gain life. Basically, I treated this like my no pain, no gain deck in black-white with a Heaven and Hell theme. So if you haven't seen that deck, that's actually one of my more interesting decks. If you haven't seen No Pain, No Gain, go watch that one. Next up, the 3-drop was Baleful Amit. It's a demon. It's also a crocodile. I don't know how that works, but it's a 4/3 for 3. Has lifelink. See where that theme goes? It has lifelink, gaining life. Try to get it all in there. And then when it enters the battlefield, you put a -1/-1 counter on the creature you control. Most likely what you're going to do with that is maybe put it on the Footlight Fiend so that it keeps the Amit at a 4/3. It kills your own Footlight Fiend, and it deals a damage to something else. But there are certain situations that are going to change, and you just don't know. So it may even go on itself and become a 3/2. Still has lifelink, though. 4 of them in there. I think I have 5. No, it's 4. First of the 6 rare pluses. I said in the first 2 videos rares, but there were mythics in there. Varagoth Bloodsky Sire, so 3 to cast, 2/3. Death Touch. Demon. Boast is the ability. Boast 2. So for a black and white, this creature has the ability of target player searches their library for a card, shuffles their library, then puts it on top, so it's a Vampiric Tutor. But you can only play this ability when this creature attacks. So it helps go and get cards that you may need for later. Anything that searches your deck is a bonus. I still haven't figured out how this is not worth way more. It might be because it's only a 2/3. The 4-drop is an Angel. It's an Angel Warrior. It's a 4-drop, 3/2. However, you may pay 1 white and 1 of any, and exile a creature card from your graveyard rather than pay its mana cost, and it has flying. So, the synergy here, other than the fact that it's also an Angel, follow me here, this is going to be a second. So, Footlight Fiend, the 1-drop, alright? It blocks somebody else's creature, it dies, it deals 1 damage to an opponent, so now they're at 19, creatureless, just like you. It's in the graveyard. Second turn, you may now exile it to cast Stalwart Valkyrie, a 3/2 flyer. In Pioneer, there are ways to kill it. I don't know how efficient the removal is there, but a 3/2 flyer seems pretty damning in almost any format on second turn. So, I got 4 of them in there. Spawn of Mayhem. So, it's a 4-drop. It's 2 black and 2. It's a 4/4 flying trample, but it has Spectacle. Spectacle is that you can pay 2 black and 1 and cast it if an opponent has lost life this turn. So, if you attack on turn 3 with something, or Footlight Fiend again, deals damage to it, and you have 3 either 2 swamps or a 3rd swamp and 2 swamps and a plains, you can now cast a 4/4 flying trample because your opponent lost life. All right. Desecration Demon, another 4-drop. It's a 6/6 flyer. Notice the theme there too. There's a lot of flying in here. At the beginning of each combat, and that's not just your own, by the way, that's also your opponent's. So this can get crazy really quickly. At the beginning of each combat, any opponent may sacrifice a creature, and then if that player does, you tap Desecration Demon, but you put a +1/+1 counter on it. If they don't sacrifice a creature, you have a 6/6 just untapped with however many +1/+1 counters on it, flying just ready to go. So it's a good card. Baneslayer Angel. It's a 5-drop, 5/5 Angel, flying, 1st strike, lifelink, protection from demons and dragons. I don't think that in Pioneer these last two the protections matter, but it might. You never know. And if you're playing against your own deck, if you find a mirror match of this deck, then you're golden, I guess. The important part is the lifelink here. Lifelink, lifelink, lifelink. Keeping yourself alive so that you can start doing damage. And some of the stuff in here costs a little bit higher than normal, but I have it curved so that it doesn't have that problem. Alternate win con time. Angel of Destiny. It's a 5 to cast. 2/6. Flying, double strike. Angel. All right. Here's where it gets kind of fun. So whenever a creature you control, so it doesn't matter if it's this creature or other creatures, deal combat damage to a player, you and that player gain that much life instead. Here's where the reason why the lifelink matters in this deck. All that ability to gain life comes down to this last ability and the alternate win con. At the beginning of your end step, if you have at least 15 life more than your starting life, each player the Angel of Destiny attacked this turn loses the game. It's an auto win con. When you're combining it with lifelink, it itself has double strike, so it doesn't, it's when it attacks, you're gaining. It's not lifelink, so I'm wondering if I'm gonna have to look it up. And if you have the question, you can ask me, and I'll look it up. I believe that also goes on top of lifelink. I don't think that this counts as lifelink. So if a creature has lifelink and this ability on there, you're gaining extra life. So it reads whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you both gain that much life. It's not lifelink. So if you are lifelinked, like, where'd it do that? So you're dealing 5 lifelink, and then you're gaining 5 more from Angel of Destiny. So you're gaining 10 just off of that. So keep that in mind in case that comes up. I believe that's how that would work. This one's a little extra win con. All right. We're going to start off with, it's a 5 to cast enchantment. It's called Liliana's Contract. We're going to ignore this part right now. We're going to focus on when it enters the battlefield, you draw 4 cards and you lose 4 life. Now, with all the lifelink in this deck, it shouldn't really matter about that. We're going to throw another win con in here for you. It says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 4 or more demons with different names, you win the game. So 2 win cons in a row. Now, as far as, I didn't add as many demons as I could have because I wanted to kind of diversify what kind of creatures were in here, but let's go over that real quick. Baleful Amit, that's 1. Varagoth, that's 2. Spawn of Mayhem, that's 3. Desecration Demon, that's 4. So you've got your 4. Now, if you want to take this out and put in something else like another Angel of Destiny, I'd suggest that if you want to do that as your alternate win cons instead of just combat damage, you can leave it in there and take out something like the Devils, or I wouldn't do that. Impassioned Orator, and put in some more stuff that are demons, like another Varagoth or something like that, but different names, and there are plenty of them. You can do that, or you can just take out the Liliana's Embrace. But the reason why it's in here, actually, it was coincidental that the extra win con came into play. It was more for the fact that you can draw 4 cards and lose 4 life, and the life didn't really matter. All right. We have removal. Black has great removal, and in Pioneer, it's subpar compared to some, but it still has Fatal Pushes, which are in the other deck, so I wanted to kind of diversify what kind of removal there was. So for this deck, I went with some Feed the Swarms, because they also do something Black isn't very good at. Removing enchantments. This is one of the few actual enchantment removals Black has. So I threw 2 of them in there, because your life doesn't matter. It can destroy a creature or an enchantment, and it does something that when somebody's playing against a Black deck, they don't really expect. 2 of them, and then some good old murders. I mean, it's plain and simple. 3 to cast, destroy a creature. Just simple. Clean. I used a couple of the white creature removal cards that are oft forgotten that I kind of like a little bit. I like putting them in my budget decks because they don't cost a lot, and they do just as good a job as others. So Murder just lets you kill something. This lets you do it as a surprise. So it's an instant for 2 to cast, and you can destroy an attacking creature. So somebody who doesn't know that you're playing this, which most likely they won't, will attack into that, and then they'll just lose the creature at instant speed for them, and then swift response. So it's kind of the same thing. I don't know why it's worded differently. I mean, it's the same card for the most part. This specifically says destroy target attacking creature, so it must be attacking. Swift response does that plus. So when somebody goes to attack you, they have to tap the creatures. So in response, you can actually kill it with swift response. But you can also kill something that's not attacking with this. In essence, it can kill things that tap to do abilities. So that's the difference between the two. I wanted the diversity. They work hand in hand. They work really well. Good, and they're instants, so it surprises people a little bit. And then the lands are basic. This deck is pretty evenly cut down the middle between black and white cards, so I did whatever I could to make it so you could gain more life. So that was Scoured Barrens. It taps for both, taps for either a white or black, and it enters the battlefield tapped. You want to play these, I don't know, not first turn unless you don't have a 1-drop. Other than that, you want to drop a 1-drop first if you can. Play it when it doesn't matter. If it's the only card in your hand, play it first, just to get it out of the way. But at least it taps for either a black or a white, and it gives you a life back just like the rest of the deck, which is lifelink. For them, and then I split it down the middle, 10 and 10 swamps and swamps and plains, because it's pretty well evenly matched as far as the casting costs and what you need. It was a no-brainer. And again, 24 lands because you want to be able to drop a land every turn. All right? So that's the deck in a nutshell. Heaven and Hell. Best I could do with what I had available to me in Pioneer. Hopefully, to the person who bought these, that your kids who you bought them for are enjoying them, you're enjoying them, and they're getting what they wanted out of it on the budget that was given. Again, I'll repeat, it was 30 to 40, and my theory is to get decks to work very well for as little money as possible, so I hit the $30 mark. All right? So that is the deck for the week. That is all 3 of the same customers' decks. They were all Pioneer Legal Budget Battle Brews. Hopefully you learned something from it. I know I did. I learned a lot from all 3 decks, and that my capabilities are a lot higher than I thought they would be. So, anyway, no, it's not for sale. It's already been bought, but I'm thinking of trying to get something like this. I've been trying to get an Angel deck for my $20 budget Battle Brew decks. I've been trying to get a Demon deck. This one kind of filled that out, but it was a higher budget, so it worked. So, hopefully you enjoyed it. That's where I'm going to ask you. Please do me the favor, like the video if you did enjoy it. Even if you didn't, I mean, why wouldn't you? It's easier to like something than it's easier to like than hate. All right. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. For the last couple weeks, I've been doing these, and then I have a couple more decks I have to do before I can actually possibly get back to doing. I have 5 Commander decks I have to do an unboxing for and an upgrade guide for, and I'm so far behind now. But subscribe to the channel, and you'll get notifications when that's finally done. Share this out to somebody who's looking to do a Heaven and Hell deck. And I do know that that's a popular theme in some areas. So this is a good way to start. At least I can show you in the Pioneer format what was available as far as the creature types that would fit into a Heaven and Hell deck. If it was in, say, Modern, it would have been a little easier. And if it was Kitchen Table, it would have been open and I would have done a lot of different things. So anyway, share it out to somebody who may be looking at it. Other than that, my time for the week. I want to thank you for watching. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you all next week.